I don't even know where to start. I've been reading other stories for years, never thinking I'd be the one sharing one. But I need to get this out. My world has just been completely shattered, and I don't know who I am anymore. It all started about 2 years ago. My dad, he's always been my hero. A big, loud, laughing kind of guy who coached my little league games and taught me how to change a tire. My mom, my older sister, Lisa, we were a close family. The kind that had big, noisy Sunday dinners every week without fail. I remember it was a Sunday, actually. The air was getting colder. We were all around the table laughing, and Dad just wasn't himself. He was pale. He pushed his food around his plate. My mom kept shooting him these looks. Worried looks, you know? I asked if he was okay, and he just forced a smile and said, "Just a bug, champ. Nothing to worry about." But it was something to worry about. A week later, my mom called me, and her voice was shaking. She said they'd been to the doctors. They'd run tests. She said I needed to come over right away. When I got there, the house was silent. No music, no laughter, just this heavy feeling. My dad was sitting in his armchair and he looked small. For the first time in my life, my dad looked small. My mom sat me down. She held my hands, and hers were ice cold. She told me my dad was in end-stage renal failure. His kidneys were shutting down. She said the word dialysis, and it sounded so clinical, so terrifying. And then she said the worst part. The wait list for a transplant was years long. Years he might not have. I felt like the floor had dropped out from under me. My sister, Lisa, was just crying silently on the couch. I looked at my dad, my big, strong dad, and I just said, "What can I do? Tell me what to do." The doctor had said a living donor was the best option. A family member. So, of course, we all got tested. My mom was ruled out due to her own health issues. My sister, she went for her test and came back looking devastated. She told us she wasn't a match. The blood types were incompatible. She was heartbroken. Then my results came back. I was a perfect match. I remember this wave of, relief, purpose. I could save my dad. There was no question, no hesitation. I told them I'd do it. The look on my dad's face. He cried. He said he couldn't ask that of me. My mom hugged me tighter than she ever had, sobbing, calling me her miracle boy. Lisa was quiet, but she smiled and said I was the bravest person she knew. The surgery was scheduled. The months leading up to it were a blur of appointments, more tests, counseling. They tell you about the risks, the pain, the lifelong impact. But when it's your dad's life on the line, you don't hear any of it. You just sign the papers. The day of the surgery, God, I was so scared. They wheeled me into the OR first. I looked over at my dad on his gurney, and he gave me a weak thumbs up. That was the last thing I saw. Waking up after, it was a different kind of pain. It's a deep, aching emptiness, like a part of you has been carved out. It was brutal. The recovery was worse. Every movement was agony. But my family was there. My mom doted on me. Lisa brought me meals. My dad, he started to get color back in his cheeks. He started to look like my dad again. Every time I saw him laugh, every time we had one of those Sunday dinners again, I'd feel a twinge of pain in my side and think, it was worth it. It was all worth it. For a whole year, I believed that. I was the good son. I had saved my father's life. Then, last Tuesday, everything changed. I was at my parents' house, looking for my old birth certificate to get a new passport. My mom keeps all that important stuff in a big old filing cabinet in the basement. I was digging through folders, past tax returns, and insurance paperwork, and I found a folder with my dad's name on it. It was thicker than the others. I opened it. It was full of medical records, old blood work reports, scans, things I'd never seen before. My eye caught one particular document. It was a doctor's note, dated from before we were even told he was sick. The heading was Summary of Patient Prognosis. I started to read it, my heart beginning to pound for a reason I didn't understand. And then I read the line that ended my life as I knew it. It stated in clear medical terms that while my father had chronic kidney disease, his function was stable. He was not in renal failure. His condition was not critical. He was never dying. I just stood there, in the cold basement, holding that piece of paper. The scar on my side started to ache. My hands were trembling. I just remember sitting on my kitchen floor, that medical report still clutched in my hand, reading it over and over and over again. The words just wouldn't compute. Function is stable. Not in critical condition. Manageable with medication. Each word felt like a punch. My mind was screaming. This had to be a mistake. A different patient. A typo. Anything but what it so clearly was. Proof. The pain in my side, the one that's always there as a reminder of what I did, started throbbing like it was fresh. I felt physically sick. I gave up a part of my body, a part of my health based on a lie. How do you even process that? I couldn't just sit there. I drove back to my parents' house. I stormed right in, the paper held out in front of me like a weapon. My mom was in the kitchen making tea. She took one look at my face and hers just went pale. "What's wrong? Are you okay?" she asked, her voice all full of that fake concern. I slammed the paper down on the counter. "What is this, Mom? What the hell is this?" She picked it up, her hands trembling. She didn't even have to read it. She knew exactly what it was. I saw the recognition in her eyes, followed immediately by pure panic. "Where did you get this?" she whispered. "Does it matter?" I yelled. My dad heard the commotion and came in from the living room. He looked from my mom's terrified face to my furious one. "What's going on here? Tell him," I shouted at my mom. "Tell him what you did. Or should I?" My mom started crying. "It's not what it looks like, honey. I promise. The doctors, they must have made a mistake on that form. Your father was very sick. You saw him. You know how weak he was." My dad stepped in, putting an arm around her. "Son, calm down. You're upsetting your mother. That paper doesn't mean anything." The doctors were confused at first, but they corrected it. "We would never lie to you about something like this." They were a united front. They were looking me right in the eye and lying. The gaslighting was incredible. They were trying to make me doubt what I was holding in my hands. They were treating me like I was crazy. I turned to my dad, my voice breaking. "You let me go through with it. You let them cut me open. For what?" He didn't have an answer. He just looked down. I left. I couldn't breathe in that house. But I wasn't done. I remembered something. My sister, Lisa, she got tested. She told us she wasn't a match. But if I was a perfect match genetically, there was a very high chance she would be too. My heart was pounding again, but this time it was a cold, hard rhythm. I called her. "Hey," she said, her voice sounding normal, happy even. "What's up?" "I know, Lisa," I said, my voice flat. "Dead." A pause. "No, what?" "About Dad. He wasn't dying. Mom and Dad just tried to gaslight me with some story about a doctor's mistake. But I want to hear it from you. You told me you weren't a match. Was that a lie, too?" The silence on the other end of the line was so long I thought she'd hung up. When she finally spoke, her voice was a tiny, broken thing. "I'm so sorry." I felt the world drop out from under me a second time. "So it's true. All of it." She started sobbing. They came to me. Mom said Dad was sick, but that he could get better with a transplant. But she said it would be too hard on me, on my body, that I had my career, my life, that you were stronger, that you could handle it. They begged me to just pretend I wasn't a match. They said it was for the best, for the family. I couldn't speak. I was literally speechless. My own sister, she knew. She knew the entire time, and she let me do it. She chose herself. They all chose themselves. "You're a monster," I whispered into the phone. "You're all monsters. Please don't say that," she cried. "We're family." "No," I said, my voice finally cracking under the weight of it all. "My family wouldn't do this to me." And I hung up. I sat in my car for an hour, just numb. The betrayal was so complete. It wasn't just one lie. It was a web of them, carefully constructed by the three people I trusted most in the world. They didn't see me as a son. They saw me as a spare part, an insurance policy, the strong one who could just handle having an organ removed under false pretenses. The pain and sadness were starting to curdle into something else, something cold and hard. Rage. This wasn't just a family dispute. I didn't even know what it was legally. Fraud? Coercion? Assault? They manipulated me into a major, life-altering surgery. I picked up my phone again. I wasn't going to call family. I was done with family. I opened a web browser. My hands were steady now. I had a purpose. I typed into the search bar, medical malpractice lawyer. Then I added, organ transplant. I scrolled through the results, my jaw set. I found a firm with good reviews. I took a deep breath, and I pressed the call button. After I called that lawyer, things moved fast. Terrifyingly fast. The law firm took my case immediately. They were horrified but also intensely focused. My lawyer, a sharp woman named Kristen, explained it to me. This wasn't just a family betrayal. This was a profound violation of medical ethics and informed consent. I agreed to the surgery based on a catastrophic lie. That voided my consent. We sent a formal letter to my parents' doctor, demanding all medical records. We also sent a cease and desist letter to my parents, forbidding them from contacting me. The doctor's office complied instantly, and the records, they were damning. Page after page of charts and notes showing my father's condition was stable, manageable. The doctor had even noted his confusion about my family's insistence on pursuing a transplant pathway when it wasn't medically necessary. My parents, of course, didn't listen to the cease and desist. My phone blew up, begging voicemails from my mom, angry, guilt-tripping texts from my dad, calling me ungrateful, saying I was tearing the family apart. The most telling message was from my sister. Lisa, please stop this. You're going to ruin us. Not, I'm sorry. Not, we were wrong. Just, you're going to ruin us. It confirmed everything. My lawyer set up a mediation. She said it was a formality before we filed a massive lawsuit for fraud, medical battery, and emotional distress. She told me I didn't have to go, but I needed to. I needed to see their faces. We sat in a cold, quiet room. My parents and their lawyer on one side, me and Kristen on the other. Lisa wasn't there. She'd refused. My dad started first. Son, this is ridiculous. Let's go home and talk about this as a family. Kristen didn't let me speak. She slid copies of the medical records across the table. There will be no talking as a family, she said, her voice like ice. We are here to discuss the damages your clients inflicted upon mine through deliberate deception. My mom started crying. We were scared. We thought he might get worse. We just wanted to be safe. You wanted to be safe, I repeated, speaking for the first time. My voice was flat. It didn't even sound like me. So you decided to mutilate my body to make yourselves feel safe? Without even asking. Without even telling me the truth. The dam broke. My dad slammed his hand on the table. You owe us your life. We raised you. This is how you repay us? By suing us? You didn't want a son, I said, standing up. You wanted an organ farm. You looked at me and saw a kidney you could harvest. Lisa was too precious to risk, but me? I was disposable. I was just spare parts. The room went silent. I had finally said the quiet part out loud. The ugly, horrific truth they could never admit. I saw the shock on their lawyer's face. He hadn't known the full story. My mom looked like I'd slapped her. My dad just stared, his face purple with rage and shame. I sat back down. We're done talking. We didn't go to court. Their lawyer advised them to settle. The lawsuit would have bankrupted them and gone public. The shame was too much for them to risk. The settlement wasn't about the money. It was about consequence. It was a large, life-changing sum for me, taken from their retirement, their savings, the equity in their house. It was a financial amputation to match my physical one. The final condition of the settlement was a permanent, mutual no-contact order. Legally, we no longer exist to each other. I moved. I changed my number. I started therapy. The physical ache in my side is a permanent reminder. But now, Now it reminds me that I survived. I got out. I heard through a cousin who reached out that my parents are pariahs. Most of the family cut them off when the truth leaked. My sister, Lisa, moved across the country. She couldn't handle the shame. They have their health. They have each other. And they have the silence they created. People ask me if I'm happy I found the truth. I'm not. Knowing this truth is a burden I'll carry forever. I miss the family I thought I had. I grieve for them every day. I grieve for the father who taught me to throw a baseball, for the mother who read me stories, for the sister who was my best friend. They're gone. They died the moment they decided to betray me. But I am at peace. I'm not the good son anymore. I'm not the miracle boy. I'm just me. A guy who learned the hardest lesson possible. That love isn't always what it seems. That sometimes the people who are supposed to protect you can do the most harm. The kidney they stole from me bought them nothing. No health, no happiness. Just a lifetime of regret and isolation. I kept my life, and I'm finally starting to live it for myself. And that was the story of a sacrifice twisted into a devastating betrayal. What do you think, everyone? Was OP right to cut his entire family out of his life after such an unimaginable deception? Or could there have been another path to take? The depth of this betrayal is just staggering. It makes you question everything. I truly want to know what you think, so please share your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section below. Let's have a conversation about it. To each and every one of you watching right now, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of this community and for giving your time to these stories. It means more to me than you know. If you want to hear more true stories of love, betrayal, and unbelievable family drama, please do two things for me. First, give this video a like. It really helps the channel grow. And second, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Every single subscribe is a huge motivation for me. It's what pushes me to keep finding and sharing these powerful stories with all of you. If you know someone who would be captivated by this story, please share this video with them. Let's get this story out there. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.